Hi, today I will talk about definition of network analysis and CPM, which is critical path method. Network analysis involves studying the relationship and interaction between interconnected elements represented as nodes or node types. It explores properties, structure, and behavior within various types of networks such as social network, transportation network, or electrical circuits. This field uses graph theory and other mathematical tools to analyze the connectivity, flow, and pattern within this system. CPM commonly refers to critical path method. Critical path method is a project management technique that uses a network of tasks and their dependency to determine the longest path through a project. It is help identify the critical tasks that, if delayed, could potentially extend the overall project duration. CPM is particularly useful for scheduling and optimizing the timeline of complex projects.
Hello, I'm Kritika Ravichandran. My matric number is 2230914. Today I would like to present about advantage of critical path method CPM. First will be project scheduling. CPM helps in creating a detailed and structured schedule for a project, enabling better planning and resource allocation. Second will be identify critical tasks. CPM identify the critical path, highlighting tasks that, if delayed, will extend the overall project duration. This allows project manager to focus on crucial activities. Third will be resource optimizations. By understanding task dependencies, CPM helps in optimizing the allocation of resources, ensuring efficient utilization throughout the project. Fourth will be sequential planning. CPM provides a sequence plan, making it easier to track progress and manage the project timeline. Fifth will be risk management. It assists in identifying potential risks and uncertainties by enabling project manager to develop contingency plans. Disadvantage of critical path method CPM complexity. CPM may become complex and challenging to manage for large projects with numerous interdependencies and tasks. Assumption of fixed duration. CPM assumes fixed task duration, which might not be accurate in real-world situations where task duration can vary. Limited focus on resources constraints. CPM does not explicitly consider resources constraint, which can be a limitation in situations where resources availability is a difficult factor. Sensitivity to changes. The critical path can change if there are modifications to task durations or dependencies, making it necessary to re-evaluate and update the plan. Fifth will be may not address resources leveling. While CPM identifies critical tasks, it may not inherently address the leveling of resources potential, leading to resources overload or underutilizations. Thank you.
So guys, the first procedures is to define the project activities. You must identify and list all the tasks or activities required to complete the project. Specify the dependencies between tasks, indicating which tasks must be completed before others can start. The next one is to estimate activity durations. Estimate the time required to complete each other. This could involve consulting experts, historical data, or using other estimation techniques. The third one is to create a network diagram. Represent the project activities and their dependencies using a network diagram. This can be done using the activity on node AON or activity on arrow AOA methods. Fourth one is to determine the critical path. Calculate the earliest start time and earliest finish time for each activity. Identify which are the longest path through the network. which represents the critical path. Activities on the critical path have zero slack of load. The next one is to calculate total project duration. Determine the total project duration by adding the durations of activities on the critical path. The sixth one is to identify slack of load. Calculate the slack of load for non-critical activities. Slack represents the time that an activity can be delayed without delaying the project. The next one is to resource allocation. Consider resource constraints and allocate resources appropriately to ensure that the project stays within schedule. The next one is to monitoring and control. Regularly monitor the progress of activities against the project schedule. You must adjust schedules as needed based on actual progress or unforeseen issues. And the last one is the project execution. Begin executing the project according to the defined schedule. And you must pay special attention to critical path activities to ensure they are completed on time. So that's some of the procedures.
So now I'll be explaining on the examples and also drawings and also question sample for CPM. This is our question here. In this table here, they have been given the activities and also the duration in days, and we are also provided with 3 questions. Okay, so I'll start off with the first question: how to draw the arrow diagram. I already draw the arrow diagram here. Based on this table, we have to draw the diagram. So A to B, and then B to C, B to D, C to E, C to F, D to E, D to G, E to H, F to H, and G to H. Okay, so this is the arrow diagram. Now we are jumping into the second question, which is to identify the critical path and find the total project duration. So before identifying the critical path, we have to find the value of E and L. Okay, so E stands for EFT and L stands for LST. So I've already calculated here. The E value for A is 0, then the E value for B is 1 because 0 plus 1 is 1, then B to C is 8, 1 plus 7 is 8, B to D is 10 because 1 plus 9 to 10. But then when it comes to E, we have to understand that there's two activities joining activity E, which is C to E and D to E. So since we are finding for E, value E, we have to keep in mind that E equivalents to maximum number. Okay, so for instance, 10 plus 2 we will get 12, and then 8 plus 5 we will get 13. 13 and 12, 13 is the maximum value. Therefore, the E value for activity E is 13. Next, we will be going to C and C to F. 8 plus 2 is 10 as usual. 10 plus 6 is 16 for D to G. And repeating the same situation here, E to H, F to H, and G to H. Okay, so 13 plus 4 we will get 17, and then 16 plus 7, 23, and 10 plus 1 is 11. So out of these three, 23 is the highest. Therefore, 23 is the E value for activity H. So now we are going to calculate the value of L, okay, which is latest starting time. Okay, so L is 23 here. 23, the L value we have to minus with the duration to get the L value for the next activity. Okay, so 23 minus 1, 22, 23 minus 4, 19, 23 minus 7, we'll get 16 here. Okay, and then we have to see here for activity C and D is the same situation like just now. Only thing is we are finding the L value. So when we are finding for L value, we have to keep in our mind that L is equivalent to minimum number. Okay, so F to C, 22 minus 2 we will get 20, and then E to C, 19 minus 5 will get 14. So when we compare these two, 14 is the minimum number, therefore L is equivalent to 14 for activity C. Now for activity D, E to D, okay, 19 minus 2 is 17, and 16 minus 10 is 6. Okay, therefore the minimum value for activity D is 16 minus 6 is 10. Therefore the minimum value for activity D is 10. Okay, now we are discovering the same situation for activity B, which means C to B and D to B. The same method, 14 minus 7 we will get 7. 10 minus 9 we will get 1. So we took 1 because it's the minimum value. And B to A, 1 minus 1, 0. That's all. So now the question asked, identify the critical path and find the total project duration. Critical path. When it comes to critical path, we have to keep in mind that the E and L value must be the same. Okay? Must be the same. So when we see in this whole diagram, A, the E and L value is the same. B, E and L value is the same. D, E and L value is the same, followed by G and also H. So the critical path is A to B to D to G and to H. Now they are asking for the total project duration. Total project duration is 23 days.
So now we're having a look on the third question's answer. The third question asked for the total free and independent floats, and I've drawn a whole table here, and the table will explain how I found all these values.
So this is all from me and my team members. Thank you so much for spending time to watch this video.